Well, hi, everybody. My mic is working. Can you hear me in the back okay? Okay, excellent. Well, it's so nice to see you all here tonight, and welcome. I'm Patsy Ron. I'm president of the board for the Monroe County Public Library Foundation, and we're also called Friends of the Library. Before we start the program, I just want to mention we will have 3 reports. Myself, and then our treasurer, Samantha Eads, and then, of course, Greer Carson, the director of the library. And after that, we will take a quick 10-minute break. In case you don't know, the bathrooms are across the hall, and have some more food, stretch your legs, chat, and then come back and be seated while, just at 10 minutes, because we have a really interesting, fun, and exciting presentation for you today from our teen space, and 2 very special guests who are with us tonight, so that'll be a lot of fun. So today we're here to hear about last year, which was 2023, and what happened, what did we do, what did the Friends accomplish last year? Well, to start off, in June of last year, we had the grand opening for this beautiful Southwest branch, and it was a grand opening. It was fantastic, lots of people came, and I'm sure that many of you that are here tonight were also there. So this means for the Friends of the Library, and I shouldn't touch my mic, for the Friends of the Library, that we now have 3 branches of, to help support in the Monroe County Public Library system, and we are thrilled about this. It's exciting. So it's a very good thing that in 2023 we had a record-breaking year for our fundraising, and this is due thanks to the efforts of many people, including our board of directors. And I want to make a shout out to Elizabeth Johnson. Elizabeth, you're here, where are you? Oh, Elizabeth just walked in the room. I'm giving a special call out to you, Elizabeth. She is chair of the fundraising committee, and it was only our 2nd year of operating that committee, and it is really doing a great job, so thank you, Elizabeth. And this is also due to the efforts of our staff, our wonderful staff. We have 2 staff members. Mary Jean Rigoli, our office coordinator. Mary Jean is right here helping us all tonight. And then it's also Mike Burns, who runs our Friends of the Library bookstore. So we thank both of them. They're gems. We're so happy to have them. And our success last year was also due, in part at least, to the cooperative arrangement and relationship that the foundation has with the public library and the staff that helps us. And I want to give a shout out to Tori Lawhorn. Tori Lawhorn. She is Director of Communications and Marketing, and she has been just wonderful in helping us with our publicity. And last but not least, I want to thank Greer Carson, who is Director of the library, for this wonderful collaboration that we've managed to create over the last couple of years. And it's a wonderful thing to work with him. So to give you an idea of some of the successful successes we had with fundraising last year, let's start with the bookstore. So we had our 2 annual book sales turned out to be the best ever, the greatest amount of funds we ever made. And the income from sales that we had inside the bookstore also reached its highest number that we've ever earned income from them. So that's fantastic. So Mike wanted to be sure that I made sure you understood that we thank the volunteers who work for us at the bookstore, because we can't do it without them. Yeah, and one of them is here now, Ann Bunger. Ann, thank you so much for all the work you do. And I especially want to thank the chair of the bookstore committee, that is Mary Kennedy, our board member. And Mary, where are you? You're somewhere, there you are. Thank you so much for your work. You stepped in and really made a difference. Okay, then our annual fund drive turned out to be one of our biggest ever. And so for that, we thank you. We thank people in our community, because you are literally the people that make us work and run and able to help the library. So thank you so much for that. This was also a record-breaking year for our Dine Out program. Many of you, I know, go to this and enjoy this. Every year we get more restaurants asking to be in this program. And every year, it seems, last year, the public is so aware of this now. They enjoy coming. When I went and visited some people at one of the restaurants one time, and they were saying, oh, we come every time to the dine out. We just love it. It's become a ritual for us. It's wonderful when the public reacts like that. So I want to give a shout out to Neil Klein. He's a board member. He's chair of the dine out committee, and he has really made this explode in the last couple of years. So thank you, Neil. And then finally, I want to give another example, but this isn't about the work we did so much as the work that some community members have done. And it's an example of the type of thing that you all can do. The family of Max Woodliff came to us after he passed and said the family had decided they would like to create a memorial in his honor, and any donations they wanted to go to this Southwest Branch Children's Room. And so we set that up for them, and they raised for this library's children's room $35,000. Wow. Yeah, wow. It was really impressive, and we're so grateful that they thought of us and that they came to us with that. It was very special. Now, not necessarily related to raising money, but to managing money, we made an innovation last year. We started something that I think is going to be really wonderful. It has been and will be. And that is that through currently the Director of Finance for the Monroe County Public Library is Gary Lettler. And through conversation with Gary and with Greer Carson, the director, and myself, the library offered that Gary Lettler could be the finance manager for the Friends of the Library. And this is incredibly wonderful for us. Our treasurer, Sam Eads, works closely with him, and it enables us to have this free and professional financial management. So we're very grateful that we were able to have this take place. So it was also last year that a couple of our major projects came to fruition, and I want to thank the individuals again who made these things happen. First, I'd like to thank Brian and Jessica Hain. If you were here last year, you heard me talk about them. They came to us and said, we would like to fund an amphitheater and stage at the Southwest Branch. We've heard you're interested in doing that, but you don't have the money. And we said, thank you so much. Now, because of this offer, and it was such a big offer, Greer and the foundation worked with the Monroe County Public Library Board of Trustees to create for the first time a naming policy, which means that when we have a major donor like that, there's the possibility of naming something after them. So we now have the Hain Family Amphitheater by the Woods. And it's a wonderful thing that we were able to have that because of their great graciousness. And the other special project was again from an individual that came to us. Her name is Maria McKinley, wonderful person. She said, my dear friend Sue Sheldon has passed, and I want to do something to honor her. And she said, I would like to create an endowment for the special teaching kitchen at the new branch. And I said, that's fantastic. How do you want to go about it? She said, I'll do it. And she went out and raised the money through Sue's friends to create the Sue Sheldon Teaching Kitchen Endowment. So kudos to Maria McKinley. She's an amazing person. And thank you again, Maria. So we are really grateful to people like this who come to us with these offers of tremendous generosity and inspiration. They inspire us with their ideas. And if you ever have the inclination or the inkling or the desire to get more involved with the Friends, let us know. I mean, if you would like to volunteer, like say for one of our big book sales, we can always use good volunteers for that. Or if you are sort of interested in thinking about possibly maybe being on the board, please let us know. We'd love to talk to you about that. So thank you for listening, and I'd like to introduce our treasurer, Samantha Eads. Sam?
there too easily.
And I'm happy
Oh,
to.
you're gonna use this mic? Okay,
That's
I didn't know
okay.
that. Okay.
Can
yield to
Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you, Patsy, for that gracious introduction. And hello, everyone. I'm new to this role, so it's very nice to meet you. Full disclosure, I am not in finance. I'm a nurse, though, so I'm good with numbers. They're a matter of life and death. So I do want to say thank you to Tom Zoss, who occupied this role before me, and for all of the work that he did for Friends of the Library. And I also want to say thank you to Greer and Patsy and Gary Letlier, the finance director for the library. He and I have worked closely throughout the year, and he's done a wonderful job teaching me, I have to say. No, he does a very good job with the library finances, and we have a nice working relationship. So you will see that the date here, June 26th, was that massive storm that we had. And this afternoon, I saw clouds off on the horizon and thought, oh no, it's going to happen again. Luckily, it did not. Okay, so let's talk numbers. Fiscal year 2023. So at the start of 2023, we had total assets amounting to just over 1.18 million. And by the end of the year, our assets had decreased by 12.5%, landing at about 1.04 million. The reduction was largely due to an increase in our pledges to support the new Southwest branch where we are today. So last year our pledge was $300,000, and this year we've upped it to approximately $661,000 to support this expansion. So, and by last year I mean 2022 and 2023. So it's worth noting that none of these pledged funds have been used yet, and there are plans to use them in the coming year, but they're kind of tucked aside. So though it looks like a decrease, we've just put that money in another bucket. Okay, so we did distribute a total of $103,850 to Monroe County Public Library in 2023. And so you'll see here the annual grant of $100,000 and then an outside grant of $3,850. Okay. Operational notes. So on a positive note, our total income for 2023 was around $367,000, 2014-16, which was an increase from the previous year. We saw a nice boost in various areas. Our annual fund drive went up, as Patsy mentioned, by 5.5%. Bookstore sales increased by 6.5%, and membership dues rose significantly. Also, our endowments had a dramatic jump to over $13,000 in 2023. New branch support. So again, our current pledge is just over $661,000. And pardon me, let me make sure I'm reading my notes correctly. I think I skipped this, the pass-through distributions. We have, nope, just, sorry. Aha, new. Okay, pardon me. I talked about the current pledge balance and how that hasn't been used just yet. And we had no pass-through distributions in 2023. Apologies for the hiccup. I have also worked all week, and it's the start of classes, and I teach at IU, so please forgive my addled brain. Investment figures for 2023. So our total investments, you'll see there at $1,374,000 and some change. Good news on the investment front. So we had market fluctuations, but our investments ended up increasing by $148,000 over the year. And this has helped offset some of the expenses and kept us in a good position moving forward. Current fiscal year updates, just gave the June report at our last annual meeting. It's positive. It's really positive. So positive movement in our finances with our assets increasing to over 1.06 million, and then we are continuing our support for the library with those grants as well. So fingers crossed the market continues to do what it's doing, but it all looks good as of this afternoon. Okay, so last thing, just like Patsy said, it's really important for us to continue building our endowment, encouraging donations. We do have a number of upcoming programs, including Power of Words, which my dear friend Mary Wiggins and I are co-chairing. Check it out. It will be a wonderful collaboration. But I do just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about the library. Books are wonderful. They open up the multiverse. They expose us to new things. But also, library programming is important because it goes beyond just offering books and resources. It's opportunities for lifelong learning, community engagement, personal growth, and all of those things that help make our community great. So thank you all for your support and dedication. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your time. Any questions at all? Are we good? Okay.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone. Great to see you all here at the Southwest Branch, and thank you for coming. We are thrilled to be up and running again here at the Southwest Branch after a rather difficult and unexpected hiatus. More on that later. 2023 was quite a year, not just for MCPL, but for libraries across the country. Public libraries in particular are evolving quickly to meet the needs of 21st century users. And to the surprise of many who predicted the decline of libraries at the dawn of the information age, public libraries are arguably more relevant today than ever before. But these are also challenging times for libraries. At the top of everyone's mind right now is censorship and the threat it poses to intellectual freedom, an old problem with a new face. In 2023, the American Library Association's Office of Intellectual Freedom reported the highest number of books targeted for censorship since they began tracking these just over 20 years ago. Of the 9,021 total challenges recorded last year, there were 4,240 unique titles targeted for removal from libraries and schools. Most of the increase was driven by organized national groups pushing for the removal of dozens or even hundreds of titles at a time, and roughly half of those titles represent the voices of LGBTQ individuals and people of color. 2,672 of those challenges occurred in Florida, with another 1,470 occurring in Texas. I am pleased to share that our own state of Indiana recorded only 23 attempts at censoring books in libraries and schools. And I can share that MCPL received a grand total of 1 material reconsideration request in 2023, and even that was what we might call a traditional concern over appropriate content. So despite being dragged into the ideological debate, public libraries across the country continue to develop new services, build new facilities, and expand their reach to more and more citizens. Summer reading programs continue to draw more and more patrons in, and it's grown beyond our flagship children's summer reading program. Teens and adults have joined the fray to help make intentional and sometimes even competitive reading a centerpiece of summer. MCPL's summer reading program continues to see increases in participation and overall engagement. In 2023, we had 2,518 children's summer reading participants, 459 teen participants, and 1,600 adult participants. And our 2024 numbers are just in. So this year we had 2,633 children's participants, 553 teens, our highest number in 8 years, and 2,199 adult participants. The credit for our summer reading program success goes to both our remarkable public services staff across all audience areas and our talented and award-winning communications and marketing team, who lead our strategic approach to all library promotions, marketing, and public relations initiatives. As you all know, we are a large and growing organization serving all of Monroe County. And because you so generously donate your time, effort, and money to help make this organization possible, I think it's worth highlighting some of the operational and mission-oriented details that make MCPL special. It is hard to believe, but we are, in fact, technically a 204-year-old library. We have 170 employees spread across 15 departments and 3 branch locations. We serve approximately 140,000 residents across the county with an annual operating budget of about $13 million. Last year, we circulated over 2.4 million items from our collection, including both physical and digital materials. We designed and presented over 1,500 in-person library programs to over 18,000 attendees. We had over 600,000 visits to one or more of our 3 branch locations, including our celebrated bookmobile and outreach van. We welcome new volunteer trustees to our MCPL board while saying farewell to a number of long-standing and beloved trustees who hit their term limits. We also developed our new strategic plan for 2024 to 2026, which focuses on 5 specific goals: supporting, facilitating, and advocating for intellectual freedom throughout our community, refining our strategies and procedures for developing responsive library programming for the public, creating safe and engaging facilities, particularly with regard to the downtown library, exploring new community partnerships wherever possible, and being the very best employer we can be, and even becoming an employer of choice within the region. Last year, we also completed an important compensation study and adopted a compensation model that makes us more competitive and attractive talent to MCPL, not only from the broad field of library and information services, but also from more specialized fields such as finance, human resources, marketing, and organizational development. Reflecting on who we are as an employer and always looking for ways to improve, this is the kind of behind-the-scenes work that's vital to an organization's health and security, and it never stops. As part of last year's Community Innovation Awards, I'm proud to share that we were named one of the best places to work in Bloomington in 2023. And finally, the biggest event of 2023, perhaps the biggest MCPL event in recent memory, was the construction and completion of this fantastic facility, our new Southwest Branch Library. This $14.5 million project, so many years in the making, represents the foresight and planning of multiple MCPL administrations. The building opened to the public on June 9th, 2023, as Patsy referenced, and for those of you who were in attendance, you may recall how grand that event truly was. Over 6,000 people joined us over a 5-hour period to toast MCPL's new branch and to come together for such a unique and historic moment in our library's history. Our patrons wasted no time in making Southwest their new home, and our Southwest staff identified and cultivated every opportunity to connect with community partners for programming and with individual patrons to make them feel welcome. Of course, the universe has a wicked sense of humor, and just a few short days after this project received an award from the American Institute of Architects for Design Excellence, Mother Nature played a nasty trick on us. We were hit with a devastating cold spell that knocked our HVAC system out and busted a number of pipes running hot water throughout the building. The result was a serious flood of nearly half the building's flooring and a lengthy insurance subrogation process which saw us closed to the public for a full 5.5 months. But we worked through it, and now that process is complete. Thanks to the patience and support of our patrons and indeed the entire community, we've picked up where we left off. Patrons are back, programs have resumed, and we're able to host tonight's annual meeting of the Friends of the Library in this lovely meeting room overlooking Bachelor Woods. You all, our Library Foundation and Friends group, have played a significant role in making this new branch library a reality. And on behalf of everyone at MCPL, I want to thank you for the support you've shown, the money you've raised, the many hours you've volunteered to help our library grow. Thank you for coming tonight. I think you're going to enjoy our keynote presentation right after a short break. If you ever have any questions or just want to talk libraries or talk MCPL, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And with that, let's take a short 10-minute break and reconvene in here and enjoy our very special guest presentation. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Everybody back? All right, time for the main event. Public libraries. We've always kind of had a bit of an image problem. Musty books, housed in silent corridors, reserved for those who love to read. It's very 18th century. For some of us, that's not an altogether unflattering image, but for many, particularly in the 21st century, the image of library as a house of books reserved for quiet, solitary study and reflection is maybe a little alienating, maybe even boring. For years, teens were an overlooked public library audience, an audience we couldn't quite figure out how to engage. After all, libraries still primarily house books, focus on literacy skills, and not that many teens are hightailing it to a public library right after school every day to read quietly. MCPL took this challenge head-on in 2013 with a plan for a dedicated teen space. Dubbed the Ground Floor, this unique teen center focuses on teen patron interaction, collaboration, creativity, social emotional learning, and development by way of connecting with library staff. Since opening in 2015, the Ground Floor has launched a whole new area of service for MCPL. We now have teen spaces in all 3 MCPL locations, each with its own unique set of resources, tools, and opportunities from Monroe County teens, but all sharing a focus on socialization and creativity. Teens in libraries do more than just play video games, although I and many other librarians believe that's a very worthwhile and literary endeavor. They engage in group discussions, develop new relationships and peer leadership skills, and much, much more. And they read. It's well known that young adult fiction is one of the fastest growing areas of fiction across the publishing world, and teen readers are a big part of that. And they read print books more often than digital books, by the way. And yes, they play video games and tabletop games and role-playing games, and that's an important part of literacy. Games are in fact a new and evolving narrative form that now influence storytelling itself, and that's just one of many reasons why games are so important. We are fortunate to have with us tonight our celebrated Teen Services staff, and as well as some special guests who are going to share their own creations with you all. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sam Ott, our Teen Services Manager, to the podium. Sam.
Hello, everyone. As Greer said, I'm Sam Ott. I run the Teen Services Department at the downtown branch of the Monroe County Public Library. I've been there since I started in 2015 as an intern and then got a job there and then became a librarian in 2017 and the manager in 2022. It's been crazy to be there. I've been there almost 9 years now, which doesn't feel real. Time has really flown. And I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the teen space. As I talk, you're going to notice a whole bunch of pictures interspersed from programs at the downtown branch and Ellettsville as well. The one that people might be noticing over here is one of our joust programs where we gave the kids blow-up hobby horses and pool noodles, and they got to attack each other. And we have another one coming up in September that we're doing after hours. It's a dragon-themed joust program, which will be really fun. But as I said, the teen space opened in 2015 with the goal of providing dedicated and welcoming space for teens in a public library. And then this service has continuously evolved during the time that we've been open, really focusing on new services, new technology, expanding our outreach efforts in the community, and really trying to make sure that we can serve all the teens in Monroe County. Just some of the highlights here. In 2023, we provided 418 programs to almost 2,900 participants. And so far in this year, we've provided service to almost 2,100 teens in our program, so we're on track to beat last year's numbers. And overall, this is a 22% increase over what we provided in 2019. So we're really excited to be able to see all that extra work coming to fruition. These are just some of the programs that we offer throughout the week. That you can see, and again, role-playing games are going to be talked about a little bit later, but those are undoubtedly our most popular programs, and we offer 4 to 6 sessions a month and can never really get enough, and there's always more and more demand for those. One of the new ones has been the Hot Ones Challenge, which is really exciting, where we take a different library staff member. Greer and Josh have both participated in that, and one of our staff members interviews them why they eat increasingly spicy hot wings on camera in front of the kids, and they have to answer questions that the kids have asked them. So that's very fun as well. In early 2023, MCPL entered the Overdrive Adventure Never Ends contest, and in June, Greer actually found out at ALA that we won 3rd place for our role-playing game programs that we offer, which is really exciting. And then we also were featured in a podcast from Alex Chambers called The Teens Are Accomplished and Splendid. That phrase is actually coined by Gray, one of our teens in the back, which is very exciting. You can actually listen to that still. The first 10 minutes feature the Monroe County Public Library, and the interviews were all conducted in the space, so you can hear kind of the hum in the background of what's going on. And then Kate and I actually last year, Kate Long, one of the teen librarians in the back from Southwest, we were panelists at the Bloomington High School North Senior Project Night, where teens who go to North have a chance to intern at local businesses or nonprofits throughout their senior year, and then they share a presentation on what they did, and then panelists rate them on their presentation skills and things like that to provide feedback as they go into college or pursue their next job. And we were able to attend that. This is, I think it was Kate's first time and my second or third time being there. And this year, we're actually fortunate to be able to host our own teen intern at the Teen Space downtown, and also in collaboration with our children's department. One of the biggest changes, though, that has happened since we first opened was staffing. So in 2015, when we opened, we had 3 librarians, one of which was focused on our Level Up digital creativity space, and then a strategist. And then we had many staff that were rotating in as paraprofessionals throughout the week, both to provide services and programs and desk coverage. But then in 2022, the library redepartmentalized, and so Teen Services was made its own distinct unit. And then as part of that, we ended up having just 6 core staff, myself, 2 librarians, and 3 paraprofessionals. And then we were able to provide a much more focused level of service to kids, and we also have some staff rotating in from our Ellettsville or Southwest branch 1 day a week to help provide that desk coverage or programs, but a lot of the work is done by that core team, and we've really been able to learn the programs and services that our audience want, provide more dedicated work for them, but also really be able to connect with them and form these developmental relationships so that we can really be a part of their lives as they go through school. And then I wouldn't be able to do anything without my staff. Like, I just talk up here and say all the cool things that they do. They're the ones that really do all of it. So I wanted to make sure you could see them. Laura and Claire are going to be up later tonight to talk. But then we also have the staff from Southwest that do teen services here. They're in the back right now. And then these are the folks from Ellettsville that do really amazing work as well. And we're lucky to have some of them come over too. And again, nothing I do would be possible without them. They're the real heroes, and I just get to make all the work they do come to public light. Some of the stuff that we've also done to make sure that we are connecting with our kids and using resources appropriately is every hour on the half hour since we opened in 2015, we've counted the number of teens in the space. And so you can see both of the breakdown over here from 2023 to 2024 counts. We've been growing pretty steadily since we reopened after the pandemic. That closure hit us pretty hard. But currently, most days after school, we're increasing the average number of kids in the space and in the programming, which is really exciting. We also adjust our hours throughout the summer and during school breaks to open a little bit earlier since kids are out of school. That's the only reason we don't open earlier, so we try to accommodate that. We've also really, since 2022, focused on teen ownership of the space, trying to add art, but also suggestion boxes. And then Claire has started a teen advisory board program where we bring kids in and they give us feedback on the types of services, programs, events, and resources they want in the space, because it's their space, so it should reflect the things that they're interested in. We've also added new collections there, but one of the things we're most excited about is that in 2024, as Greer mentioned, we had our best summer reading since 2016 with 553 participants, which is great. And one of the things we think that helped with that is we were able to get additional Friends funds this year to provide books that were picked directly by the audience areas. So the Southwest and Ellettsville folks were able to order their own prize books that were catered to their audience. But then we also went from just 3 grand prizes for teens across the system to 9. So each branch had their own dedicated prizes. And the big one, I think, at each spot was having a Nintendo Switch as a prize at Ellettsville and Southwest, and then the PS5 or an Xbox available as one of the prizes downtown. And we're hoping to offer even more prizes alongside those and the gift cards we offer to some of the local businesses. But one of the things I'm most proud of, and I think we've focused on a lot since 2022, is partnerships with educators and school librarians and other youth-serving agencies in the community to try to really make sure that we're serving those patrons. I'm going to jump down just a little bit here because in 2023, we held a total of 79 outreach programs and reached almost 3,500 teens in those visits. In comparison, in 2019, we served 120 teens on outreach visits, so that's a 2,000% increase in what we've done there. And it's not just on these outreach visits to local schools, high schools and middle schools. We've worked really hard to collaborate with places like the Monroe County Youth Council, which has been led by Kate, to bring that group to meet here at the library and have their events in the library, and then we can advertise through them. We also try to drop off materials at places like the Boys and Girls Club. We work closely with the Youth Services Bureau so that once a month they can bring their kids for dedicated programming and service before we open, so it's just for that audience. We also now hold homeschool hangout hours twice a month as well to make sure there's programs available for that audience. But then in the schools, we've been really fortunate to be able to expand our work at all of the local high schools, all of the middle schools, to have monthly visits at all of those spots where we rotate the same craft and materials across all 3 locations to ensure we have an easier time providing service, but also to provide consistency. And we go to like sometimes classrooms, sometimes the school library, sometimes we just drop off materials at an administrative desk, and then folks are able to pick those up. But it's been really great to be able to form those connections with those teachers, with those librarians, and meet so many more kids where they are in their school system. Because while we may have, like at peak, say 50 kids in the teen space, how many kids are in local middle schools and high schools that we aren't reaching? So to be able to go there is just so, so valuable. And one of the things that we've really tried to do as well is make sure that we're gathering feedback from the kids, not just anecdotally, but also as part of surveys. And as Greer mentioned, in 2023, we redid our strategic plan. Team Services did a baby version of that, where we worked with marketing to develop strategic plan, our own strategic survey, and then we distributed that across all of our locations on our outreach visits on the bookmobile. We had 94 teams respond, and this is just some of the stuff that they asked us to do, or the things that they said they were excited about. 64% marked that they liked the physical collection, and 95% used the library to hang out with friends, which is great. That's what we want. But they said a bunch of stuff in there as well that has guided the service we've offered in 2024, and the expansion we've really tried to do, like adding extra tables and chairs is one of the things they mentioned in that. They said, we don't have enough place for our stuff. So we tried to really add that so that there was more discrete hangout spaces throughout the ground floor. And then I also want to make sure I highlight the branches. It's not just downtown that does this work. Ellettsville, Decker has done really phenomenal work out there since they started in 2023, particularly a program that they and Kate collaborated on, where they worked with one of the STEM classrooms where they identified a problem at the public library, and then they worked with Kate and Decker to identify a fix for that throughout the semester, and then they presented that fix. It was 2 different classes, I think. Is that right, Kate, that presented those different options? Yeah. And that was just great to be able to see that level of collaboration. We're hoping to work with them again next year. And then here at Southwest, we've worked really closely with the Teen Services staff, especially during the closure, when many of them helped staff our desk, go on outreach visits, present programs. But we also try to be in collaboration about the programs we're presenting across the system so that we can share workloads and staff and talent, and also the mistakes that we made so they don't make those mistakes. We already made those. And then here, I'm not going to talk much about this. I just wanted to move through some of the programs that we offer. These are some of the larger scale events that happen. The Valentine's and Palatine's Day party is one we host on Valentine's Day, so you can bring your Val or your pal and hang out. And we had 90-some participants 2 years ago, and I think, was it 65, 70 this last year? And we're really excited about that. 8-Hour Comic Book Day is a fun one that has been going on for many, many years, I think since the early aughts. Joust, again, many more of those. That's actually Danny. He's a Southwest library assistant in the unicorn costume. The D&D Club, again, we've actually had to set caps on that program because you can only have so many adventures, and we've had so much interest during some days that we've actually had another librarian or LA come out and provide a second program to meet that overflow need because so many kids show up. The photography program was very, very cool. That was a community member who came in and led this event, and then one of the kids actually won a free camera. That was great. And these are some of our after-hours dances that we do. Typically, those have somewhere between 70 and 90 attendees, and we do those 2 or 3 times a year. Our next upcoming one is Zombie Prom, A Night to Dismember, in October, which is really exciting. And then the last 2 things I want to leave you with are comments one from a parent and then one from a teen, because really this is the feedback that we don't receive often, and it really shows, I think, the value of the work that we do. And I'm going to read you the first paragraph of this one. Our kid feels so well known by the staff and really looks up to them. They get and give book recommendations, have jokes, play games, and watch goofy videos. While it is clearly so caring and friendly, I have never had any concerns about appropriate boundaries. As a parent, I am grateful to have caring young adults that my kid can talk with at this time in their lives. I'll leave this up in case you wanted to read anything else. But then the last one is from one of our kids that aged out in 2021. Yeah, they're amazing. I'm really sad that they're gone. But I'm just going to read the last 2 sentences because I think that really encapsulates what they say. And if I try to read the whole thing, I can't get through it. It's really sad that they're gone, and they were super phenomenal. It makes me very emotional. But every time I walk through these doors, I feel welcomed, I feel at peace, I feel excited. This place and its people mean more to me than you can imagine, and I'm forever grateful to you all. And I don't think there's a better thing that we can say about the teen spaces at the public library. And that's it. Thank you guys so much. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. And if not, we can move on to the next round. All right.
so professional compared to everybody else's. So first off, who we are. I'm Laura. I'm a Teen Services Library Assistant.
And I'm Claire. I'm a Teen Services Librarian. And we run the majority of the TTRPGs at the downtown library. And we've had the privilege and opportunity to work with some really wonderful, a wonderful ever-growing group of talented and creative teens, some of whom are here today, to expand on our RPG offerings over the past year, because as Sam mentioned, that's one of the most popular type of programs that we run. So we will hear from our teens in just a couple minutes, but first we just wanted to say a couple words about what these programs are and why we put them together in the first place.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, tabletop role-playing games, aka TTRPGs, are communal storytelling games where one person acts as the game master or the GM and essentially creates a narrative sandbox where players can interact and play with that story. You can also consider it as structured make-believe. But learning to run RPGs and being a GM for the first time can be really scary and challenging, and that's where teen-led RPGs come in. Usually the game master position is with the staff member, but with the teen-led RPGs, we give or share the GM role with the teens, giving them a leadership position with less pressure since it's a safe and supportive environment, so their creative vision can come with less pressure than a normal game. But how we do this, we create a plan with the teen, we determine the level of staff involvement and provide whatever they need as long as we can.
Yeah, and all of this is built on what the teens themselves have expressed interest in. It kind of all started last year after some of our teens had talked about leading games for their friends outside of the library, and so we started hosting GM training sessions. Which led to the first instance of a teen leading a session, sort of accidentally, but we'll hear from John about that in a couple minutes. And our hope with these programs was to help the teens build leadership skills and to take greater ownership of the games and programs in general. But they really took it and ran with it in ways that we didn't anticipate. It's only continued to grow since we started doing this. We now have 5 different teens who have led games. Many of them have led multiple sessions, and we have more coming in the upcoming months. It's been a real pleasure and delight to see how these teens have grown in their skills and their confidence and their creativity. And we just recently, Laura and I were at Gen Con, which if you don't know what that is, it's a massive gaming convention, presenting at their trade day to share our experiences and encourage other libraries to do the same, because every library should do this with their teens. It's amazing. Yeah, and so if there are questions, we'd be happy to answer them. But then I'm looking forward to hearing from our teens.
Yeah. We are going to be hearing from Gray first, and this is also Gray's game that is in this picture, so shout out.
Yeah, did you want to come up and say a word before we play it? I'll go ahead and pull up the video.
I can take that. The title.
I forgot I did that.
That's how you saved it.
That is indeed how I saved it. Okay. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to meet you and to see some of you again. And my name is Gray. I am a teen here who lives in Bloomington. And I made this video because the original time that we were going to present this to you all was in June. And during all of June, I was on vacation in England. So I was so sad that I couldn't present. And then I thought, why don't I just make a little video talking about my experience? And that's what I did. So I will still continue to present this to you. Ignore the fact that I say I'm out of the country. I am in fact here. All right.
My name is Gray, and despite the fact that I'm currently across the world, I'm a Bloomington native.
The video isn't playing.
I've been going to the library since...
Guys.
Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, I don't
Somebody
think,
call the fire department now.
I don't know if it downloaded the actual video part of it or just the audio. Oh, no. You think you can fix
Years
it?
of work.
One moment.
No, it's not the future.
Sorry about this, y'all.
While we're setting that up, were there any questions?
Oh my God.
There's so many folders.
So many folders.
This is how we roll.
There you
We
go.
might be able to play it directly out of
Perfect.
here,
My name is Gray. And
There we go.
yeah. Try this again.
Once more with feeling.
Perfect.
There we go.
Hey!
All right. For real this time.
Despite the fact that I'm currently across the world, I'm a Bloomington native. I've been going to the library since about 2010, maybe even earlier, but unfortunately I can't remember much before 2010. I'd spent some time being kicked out of the ground floor for being too young, but I'd been obsessed with tabletop RPGs for years before, thanks to my dad's geekiness. I discovered RPG programs at the Teen Space back in 2021 when I was finally allowed in, and am now going into my sophomore year at Bloomington High School North this fall. So what's the story behind the game I run? Let me take you back to 2017 in my 3rd grade classroom. I'd already been writing my own stories and reading them to my classmates since the year before, but me and a couple of my friends had a new idea. We started creating a huge interconnected world of elemental high school fairies that all lived on a secret island called Titanu. We acted out the whole thing via Google Docs, playing different characters by changing the font and color of the text we wrote. Despite some of the questionable writing and design choices, it was one of the most fun things I've ever done. We spent 3 years expanding the universe, with it only ending because of COVID. Fast forward to 2023, and I was...
The library will be closing in 15 minutes. Materials and belongings, and head to the nearest checkout desk. We appreciate you coming to the library today.
Way to interrupt my presentation, guys. Thanks.
expanding the universe, with it only ending because of COVID. Fast forward to 2023, and I was going through some serious art block. I was thinking pretty often about how much I wished I could get back to the blind creativity of an 8-year-old with no worries about being cringe. That made me think about how my friends probably wanted that too. Then I realized I already had an entire universe laid out on my Google Drive that had that energy flowing through its metaphorical veins. I talked to Laura, the staff member who led the first RPG I ever went to at the library. Hypothetically, if I was to entirely rebrand a fictional universe from 3rd grade and create my own alternative game system for it, could we co-DM and lead it here? Sure. I immediately got to work, spending months typing up page after page of schools, businesses, fairy lore, connections between planes of existence, old characters, new characters, red characters, blue characters. I made character sheets for each element of fairy from scratch. I drew yearbook photos of every old character I had turned into an NPC. I had a great time. Laura and I, hidden away in the teen space to deter potential spoilers, wrote a huge list of session ideas based on high school and magic school tropes, plot points from the original, and whatever kind of stuff we just like to run. She helped me out with whatever I needed help with and had no idea how to do, organizing character sheets into PDFs, formatting and printing character cards for all the student NPCs, and finding times to hold sessions. We ran the sessions side by side, her controlling the functional actions of the system while I played the characters. By some miracle, I've managed to find the group of players who genuinely care about the game, and have created some amazing art and stories, not just about their own characters, but about each other's and the NPCs I made out of me and my friends' elementary school creations. This last session, I even got Laura to play in the game, as
Blood Knife, the Dark Ninja form. You don't count on that side.
and got my friend Yenna, my original collaborator for this story, to show up as a player. Every session we have is so much fun, and I look forward to them whenever I can. And beg Laura to schedule a session to the point where I'm sure it's starting to get annoying. I'm so glad that more and more teens here have been able to host their own games. It's so helpful to have a location to host your game and be able to get people together, especially with how insanely supportive all the staff members are. Every time I get to host a Titanu session here, I think about just how happy 3rd grade me would be to see how far I've come. Thank you for making this a possibility for me and all the other teens here at MCPL.
And that's the end of my video. Yay! Thank you.
John, you want to come on up? Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay.
Okay. Hello? That works. Okay. Leading a one-shot at MCPL by John Callum Russell Uredale. Who am I, and why am I here? I am John Callum Russell Uredale. And I've been going to the library for about 1.5 years. This is why I chose to run a game at MCPL and not at home. Reason number 1, good staff. They're great. As it's kind of been talked about before, they will often co-GM with you to help you run the game. But if you just want to do it by yourself, they will let you, but they'll still be present just in case you need help with something. Reason number 2, resources for games. At the downtown library, they have a 3D printer, a normal printer, a variety of miniatures and paints, and RPG books, because it's a library. Well, where am I? Venue. In addition to having good staff, they've also got good people. It's a great place to meet people who have similar interests in RPGs as you. At this point, at least half the people I'm consistently in contact with, I've met at the library. Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah. Also, this guy was made there. He's pretty chill. Where the game took place and how it went. The party had to go rescue a giant goose of human intelligence and its golden egg from atop a mountain where 4 evildoers, the most powerful of which was a wizard named Skeledrus Grimm, were keeping it. They managed to chase him off a mountain and catch the egg right before it fell. How I ran it. As was a little bit talked about before, I showed up to a guide on how to run one-shots, and I misunderstood and thought I should show up with a fully written one. And I proposed the idea of running it, and everyone there seemed to like that idea, so I ran it. And that was the biggest table I'd ever run a game for. The adventures will continue. I think MCPL is genuinely a great place to both run and play RPGs. I remember the first time I showed up to a session with a hastily made and half-baked character named Dimitri, and I was thinking, man, I sure was lucky that I got in on the first session of this, or else I wouldn't have known what was going on. But later I joined a campaign that had been going on for years, and I still had a great time. And obviously, I'm not the only one who's joined campaigns late, but the others who have seem to have had a great time. Either that or they're really good actors. And yeah, I run a game of my own, and it was great. They had to fight this guy, and they wound up half accidentally rewriting most of history and sending the world back thousands of years ago to the age of the giants. And that's going to be something I run in the future there. So that's great, and thank you all for having me here. I'm very thankful to have found MCPL 1.5 years ago. So thank you, and if you have any questions.
Hi. This is my presentation. Hi,
I'm Sprout. I use he, him pronouns, and I've been participating in the Ground Floors RPGs since May of 2020 when I joined the virtual D&D program led by Laura. I was anxious at first, but it didn't take me long to end up hanging out on the Discord most days for the entire time it was open, just talking to the staff. It provided a space for me to explore D&D and also connect with the staff and with other teens. I've been interested in RPGs since I was in 2nd grade and was in my very first campaign led by my dad. The library, the people, and the RPGs all mean so much to me, and I'm so happy I get to be a part of such a wonderful community. Another thing that holds a spot in my heart are comics, especially ones that showed little me it was okay to express myself, such as Lumberjanes. A few years ago, there was a game of Blood on the Clock Tower happening, a mafia-type murder mystery game, but I wasn't going to be able to attend the entire thing. I was offered the option of helping out as a storyteller and realized how much I enjoyed that aspect of it and started thinking of ideas of my own. I eventually approached Laura with the idea for an RPG drawing from a few different gaming systems taking place in the world of Lumberjanes. Our planning was and still is full of chaotic creativity, but eventually we managed to put together character sheets and launch our first session. Lumberjanes is a comic series about a group of diverse teens staying at a mythical summer camp. My sister recommended it to me around 2015, and it quickly became my favorite because of its authentic cast of characters and a message of being curious, caring, and fierce. When I realized I wanted to run an RPG at the library, my mind immediately went to Lumberjanes. A weird, magical summer camp was the perfect setting, even if Laura still hasn't actually read the books. So far, the players have done some icebreakers, gotten robbed by a strange creature, hid in a wheel of cheese to win Capture the Flag, found some living statues, and escaped a Jumanji-like sci-fi board game. Even though we've only had 3 sessions, the experience has been incredible. I love getting to share a world so dear to me with my peers, and exploring game mechanics and figuring out what makes an RPG engaging as we go has been a real learning experience. Every player has been so patient and created interesting and unique characters that fit into the world wonderfully, and designing a map and tokens for the Capture the Flag session was the most fun I've had planning for an RPG as a leader or as a player. This campaign has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed creating characters and building the world with Laura, and I'm so happy I have this chance. My Lumberjanes campaign is just a small part of the many different RPGs I have participated in, including Pathfinder, led by Claire, Rangers of Shadowdeep, led by Hunter, and the Sandwich Guild campaign that started my journey here 4 years ago, led by Laura. The library and the staff have meant a lot to me over the years, and I'm so excited for more adventures in the chaos that awaits. I'm so happy I get to work here as an employee and experience it as a patron. Thank you.
Does anybody have any general questions about anything that you would like answered right now before we wrap things up? Yes?
Since I've never done one of these things, how big is it? I mean, how many people participate at once, and does it stop, or does it like keep going? Is it like serial?
Do you want me to speak to that, or do you guys want to?
Yeah, it's a great question. It varies for whoever's leading it. I usually have a cap of 12 to 10 people, but some people are more comfortable with 8. And you can make it just an episodic, one session and the story is done, or it can keep rolling over and the story can be continuous. It really depends on who's leading it and what the group wants.
And we do a combination of both. We tend to do a handful of one-shots, which, a single session game, but then we also have a number of ongoing campaigns that people can come into and continue the adventure.
Yes.
If one were a team and wanted to join, how might they do that?
Just drop in.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as we're not at our capacity, then they can just take a seat. We've got worry about making them. They can just sit down and start playing. For some of our other programs, it is registration.
Yeah, I have one ongoing campaign that is registration just because the character creation process is much more involved. And so that's very time consuming. We can't really do that in game. And then periodically we have special events. Especially over the summer, we usually have the last 2 years anyway, we've done bigger sort of high level games that we do require registration for. But mostly, yeah, just show up.
And even if you're interested and you're like, oh, I missed the registration window, you can just talk to one of the staff and they'll sit down and find a time to make that work. We can almost always figure something out.
Yes, absolutely.
I was just gonna add to that, and all of them are on the calendar.
Yes, yes. Yeah, all of them are on our public calendar. We have paper marketing that we distribute as well, and then we also have a teen-focused Instagram and Discord server where we publicize a lot of those events. But word of mouth is still the best thing for most of these events. All right, well, if there's no more questions, thank you guys so much for hosting us. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming, everybody. It's delightful that you came, and it's always nice to be together and talk about all things library. So have a nice evening. Get home before any storms start, and thanks for coming.